Hello, what's up guys? So today we are gonna see, what if Naruto had more family out there, but he didn't know, Naruto X Harem, Part 4. Hope you'll enjoy this video. So before we start, go check out the author of this fanfic, JAYSEN. Link is in the description, and also subscribe to my channel, and like this video. Let's begin the video. Konoha Council Chambers. It was mid-morning, just after breakfast time when the clan heads and civilian councilors all began to arrive in the chambers, convening for the tribunal of one Sasuke Uchiha. The clan leaders were not very happy about Sasuke breaking the restrictions of his suspension and attempting to strike a small girl in the academy. But then he attempted to escape from the arresting Chunin, attacked 3 Chunin, and a Jounin, attempted to defect, and he fully admitted to it. This was treason, plain and simple. Finally, after 20 minutes of people filing in, Jiraiya himself, along with his 2 counselors Tsunade and Sarutobi, arrived with the victim and witnesses in tow. Shikamaru and Asuma were asked to testify, which they accepted easily along with Iruka and Naruto. Sakura was brought along by her mother, but the most surprising of the people who had volunteered to testify was none other than Kakashi. Jiraiya didn't know what he was getting at, but would wait and see what he would do, as he called the gathering to order. I call this military court-martial to order. Bring in the prisoner. He ordered the ANBU, who opened a door, and 2 more ANBU came out, holding Sasuke's chains like he was a rabid dog. Uchiha Sasuke, you stand accused of not only attempted assault on an academy student, but also disrespecting your superior officers, attempting to escape from custody, striking a ninja of superior rank, and attempted treason. Have you anything to say before we start? The Toad Sage asked, his gaze hard as iron. Everything was just fine until that dope got better than me. This is all his fault. Sasuke ranted until one of the guards struck him across the face to silence him. Your conduct hardly does you justice, Uchiha-san. He had nothing to do with your fall into disgrace, Hayashi stated with thinly veiled disgust. Do not think that your name will grant you any leniency here, Uchiha-san, for it will not. Aburame should be added. How dare you strike Uchiha-sama? He has done nothing wrong here. A fat merchant and counselor, Miyamura Kishu, bellowed. That is quite enough, Jiraiya. I demand that you cease this farce at once. Hamura demanded, but the room was flooded with ki, as the civilian council was called. You are only here, as a formality. You no longer hold any sway in ninja matters. This is a full military tribunal, and it is not open for debate. One more outburst will see you visiting Ibiki, Jiraiya threatened. Now if that is all you have to screech, we will begin, Jiraiya said, as he called Sakura forward. Chiaki and Naruto had a hard time calming her down after that outburst of ki, so Jiraiya went down there himself to help calm her since he scared the poor girl so badly. It's okay, I wasn't angry with you. Now can you tell me what happened to you when he tried to attack you? He asked her. Sakura seemed to calm down after this, and told everyone the events that had happened in great detail, drawing a few chuckles from her conversation with Hanabi, Konohamaru, and his friends, who seemed to take her under their wing. What set Sasuke off was when they began to talk about Naruto within earshot, and he lost all reason in his rage. Sakura would have been hit hard enough to give her a concussion if Naruto hadn't rescued her. I can concur with her story on that account. My granddaughter was there, and saw the whole thing, as well. It turns out that she befriended the girl, and she and Konohamaru have taken a shine to her, Koharu stated. That's preposterous. How can we take this seriously? I demand that her testimony be stricken from the record, Kisha bellowed. Denied. She is the victim of the attempted assault, so her testimony is both valid and vital. Yamanaka and Noichi countered, shooting down their objection. Alright, we have her testimony. Now we move on to the testimony of our Chunin and Jounin, Sarutobi called out, moving the trial along. Naruto stepped forward first to deliver his statement, followed by Iruka, Shikamaru, and Asuma, who pursued and captured him. The final statement, a nail in the coffin, was delivered by Kakashi himself. Kakashi, before you speak, we would all like to hear about your change of heart. What caused you to change your mind like this? Tsunade asked skeptically. I had a nightmare, Sensei Kushina. My teammates and my father were so angry with me. I am nothing but a disgrace to them for how I treated my team, especially Naruto-san. This was brought on when I looked in on Sasuke to see how he was doing, and he was looking into Naruto's secret, Kakashi explained, looking around. Naruto picked up on it in a heartbeat, and spoke out. Sakura-chan already knows, and I trust Shikamaru to not freak out, so spit it out. Naruto half snapped at him to continue. Ahem, Sasuke was studying on how to either become a Jinchuriki or how to control a Biju's power, like Naruto-san can. I feel that he is going insane. Taking him out of the equation will be an act of mercy for both us, and for him, Kakashi stated honestly. I see the Shinobi Council, and the elders will now collaborate, and render a verdict, Jiraiya announced, as they all huddled together. So what do you guys think? Is he redeemable in your eyes? Jiraiya asked them. To be perfectly frank, and in Kushina-san's words, hell no. He's been given everything his heart desired, but it still wasn't enough for that spoiled brat. And now he dares to attempt treason, and with Orochimaru on top of that, he needs to be made an example of, Hayashi stated, the others nodding grimly in agreement. Do you guys agree too? He asked Tsunade and Sarutobi. It pains me that one so young has threatened treason, but what's done is done. We cannot allow Orochimaru to get his hands on the Sharingan, Sarutobi said. That little bastard is just as bad as the rest of his clan. He needs to go before something awful happens, Tsunade agreed. The verdict was that Uchiha Sasuke's fate had been sealed. We have reached a verdict. We find Uchiha Sasuke guilty on all counts, and will be given the maximum penalty of death for his crime of treason, an admission of conspiring with the worst criminal Konoha has ever known. Inoichi declared, drawing looks of disbelief from the civilian side over the decision. Right. His execution will be held publicly in 2 days' time, Jiraiya confirmed, his glare curtailing any argument that might have come forth. He gave the ANBU a hand signal to take the Uchiha away. You can't kill me. I am an Uchiha. No one can kill me. He was heard ranting all the way down the hall before a heavy thud silenced. They were all ready to go home, but a few questions needed to be asked. Kakashi, since when did you care about doing the right thing? I thought that you were attached to the Uchiha lip to ask, Tsunade commented, catching the attention of the fleeing civilian council. Yes, we would like to know this, as well, Hataki, Danza added, his one good eye narrowed in suspicion. He was sure that he had Kakashi under his thumb, and blindly followed what they told him. He was very interested in knowing what made him change his mind. I've had some time to think about what I've been doing wrong. What happened to Sakura, Naruto making Chunin without me or the team, and Sasuke literally losing his mind, and demanding to be made into a Jinchuriki. Kakashi rattled off. What? Hamura exclaimed. You heard me. He wanted to be made into a Jinchuriki. I told him that even if he survived the process, which was next to impossible, the chakra would poison him since Naruto has a near immunity to it from the Kyuubi being within him since birth, and it would still be useless if Jiraiya-sama hadn't helped him control it. After all of that, I wanted no part of any of his madness, Kakashi finished. His explanation explained pretty much everything else. However, certain individuals on the civilian council thought they had found something to use against Jiraiya, and were audacious enough to call him out on it. You showed the demon brat favoritism, Jiraiya? Gensho Higi, a prominent landowner and real estate investor, bellowed in an accusatory tone. That was a very stupid thing to do since an ANBU knocked him out and dragged him from the room while the others looked outraged. Even though everyone present possessed knowledge of Naruto's special status, it was unwise to call me out like that without knowing the full situation. I trained him before the Chunin exams, and at that time, becoming the Hokage wasn't even a thought on my mind. I know what this job entails better than anyone in this room other than Sensei himself, and it pains me that I cannot train my godson any further. I still have many things to teach him from his father, my student. I know that if Kushina were still with us, half of this council would have been dead long ago. Jiraiya glowered at the council while the shinobi pieced things together. It was time that they all knew the truth. Naruto was plenty strong, and he would only become even more powerful with time. Yua's grudge against the Yondaime had died with him, as he had personally found out from one of old man Tsuchikage himself just this morning. Old Inoki, as it had turned out, knew about Naruto being the son of his hated enemy from the get-go, but chose to let the grudge die. He just wanted to see Konoha sweat over it for a good laugh, but he highly disapproved of the council's methods in handling a Jinchuriki. Also, as it had turned out, his own granddaughter, Kuratsuchi, had seen an intelligence report on him which included a picture, and was somewhat smitten. When word got out that Naruto was a shinobi, and how he fared against Kiba despite his massive handicap, he was toying with the idea of arranging a marriage with his granddaughter to Naruto. He had just gotten the missive that morning. With all of this, it was time for him to be recognized as the son of the Yondaime Hokage. No way he's the Yondaime's kid? I feel like such a colossal idiot for not spotting the resemblance sooner. Asuma smacked himself in the forehead, while Shikamaru went slack-jawed. The civilian council members that didn't know were stunned into silence. Kakashi hit the deck hard, out cold from the sensory overload to his already frayed nerves. Iruka had a gut feeling as to whose kid was. That kind of pranking genius could only have come from Kushina. No wonder Sensei was so angry with me. I treated his son like he was worthless. He's going to kill me again after I die, were Kakashi's last thoughts before entering blissful unconsciousness. Hayashi and the rest of the shinobi council who knew merely smirked when the truth came out. They felt that it was about damn time the kid's true heritage came out into the open. Once the main populace found out that they were abusing the only child of their greatest hero, they had no doubt that many would be getting shit drunk tonight, and maybe a few suicides. The bottom line was that since the former elders knew the truth, but did it anyway, they would lose their popular support within the village, and have no leg to stand on any longer. Even Danzo wouldn't escape unscathed like he usually did. Wow, Nichan, your daddy was Yandane? He was my uncle? Sakura asked him in childish wonder. However, that innocent question was caught by the former elders. Now, during all of this, Danzo had been suspiciously quiet, but chose this moment to speak. I guess that blood sample from the hospital wasn't a lie. Kushina Uzumaki wasn't the last Uzumaki. She had a sister that also survived, and now a niece, he said. What makes you say that? Tsunade asked tightly. Danzo wasn't completely correct, and there was no need to tip their hand yet, but he was too close to the truth for comfort. Come now, that little girl looks like her, and come to mention it, so does her mother. Danzo replied, pulling out a DNA readout, and handed it to the civilian council members, whose grins were starting to turn predatory. Yes, I am curious about this now, too, Hamura chimed in. I quite agree if this information is indeed accurate. I propose that Harino Chiaki and her daughter be used to boost the numbers of the Uzumaki clan. We will screen candidates for use, and they will be married off. Young Sakura will be expected to have her first child after she hits puberty, and Chiaki Harino will be paired with a shinobi of our choosing, Danzo stated callously. Wait just a minute, I am married, thank you. On top of that, I want nothing to do with your sick plans, and leave my daughter out of this. Chiaki snarled, throwing what ki she could still muster at them while she grabbed Sakura, and got behind Naruto and the other shinobi. Wait just a goddamn minute here, if you so much as look at them wrong I'll kill you all. Naruto snarled loudly, his ki becoming suffocating, but aimed. Did you hear that? He threatened to kill us all, Kishi yelled until Tsunade was in his face in a heartbeat. Good, because whoever he doesn't kill, I will. By extension, they are also members of the Senju clan, and therefore fall under my protection. If I even hear a rumor of you guys trying something, I'll be the one to kill you, she threatened, her powerful grip snapping off a chunk of the fat merchant's chair like a rice cracker. Jiraiya, stop this madness. We only seek to increase our strength. You've already deprived us of the last Uchiha, Hamura shrieked. No, I will not allow this to happen. Chiaki is already married, and Sakura is far too young for that. Not to mention the acting Uzumaki clan head, Naruto, had denied you. Besides, Naruto is an Uzumaki, and he is already making use of the CRA. I believe Hyuga Hinata is one of the 3 brides he had currently, with at least 2 more slots open. The other 2 girls are from powerful martial arts families, and he is the nephew of Furinji Hayato by blood, Jiraiya explained, making Kohara think of a way to put a positive spin on it. Is that so? Then there is nothing to worry about, since Naruto-san has already shouldered the CRA for his clan. If anything, he will help to spread these powerful bloodlines further, and given his performance during the exams, his children will likely be even stronger than him, she reasoned, making the family sigh with relief. Hamura and Danzo looked scandalized. Do you know what you are saying? Hamura exclaimed. Of course I do. The combined Namikaze, Furinji, and Uzumaki bloodlines within the boy, coupled with the demon he houses, those children will be powerhouses the likes of which we may never see again. Although, I am kicking myself for agreeing that he should be suppressed. If we had nurtured his latent talents instead of trying to quell it, think of what he might have been by now. The old bat reasoned yet again. Jiraiya, Sarutobi, and Tsunade were shocked that the old battle-axe was taking Naruto's side all of the sudden. That settles that. Chiaki and Sakura Haruno are not to be bothered by these matters any further. Since this was the final issue, I would like to conclude this meeting, Jiraiya stated, as the civilian council staggered out in a daze, the shinobi walking out feeling vindicated, but he called for Kohara to stay behind to talk with himself, Tsunade, and Sarutobi. Now what was that about back there? You hated that kid since he was born, but now you side with him? I'm gonna need a damn good explanation for this, Tsunade demanded. I simply agreed that Naruto-san had done the right thing without needing to be prodded. I also regret that I had a hand in repressing his growth. I have no doubts that if he were treated fairly, he would be far more powerful than he is now, if his near supernatural growth during the training month for the Chunin exams was any indicator. Also, I have no intention of tearing a married woman from her husband or a young child from her loving parents, and her very protective cousin. This is a boon to the village, more so than the Uchiha, Koharu explained carefully. The 3 rolled this information over carefully, looking for any deceit, but finding none for now. They decided to let her alone for now, but would err on the side of caution when dealing with her. Out in the hall, the rest of the shinobi had gathered to converse on what had happened inside, and on the new information they just learned. Man, Naruto, you just get more troublesome by the second. Now you're the son of the freaking Yandane, Shikamaru griped. I have to say that it was a real shock, but then again, it wasn't. I mean, the answer was right in front of us the whole time, and we still didn't see it, Asuma added, mentally smacking himself from not noticing sooner. Me too, I mean I had a crush on your mom, Iruka said in disbelief. Iruka, too much information, man. Naruto groaned at the statement from his former sensei. And now, fellow Chunin. Seriously, that was a tad creepy. Shikamaru agreed, as little Sakura and her mother walked up. Naruto-kun, thank you for protecting my daughter and myself there. Chiaki thanked him. You're my family. I'll do anything for my family, Naruto replied, as Sakura hugged his waist, he himself smoothing her hair down. That bad person won't try to hurt us again, she asked. She knew what the punishment meant, but her young mind still needed that reassurance that he wouldn't try to hurt her again. No, he won't, Sakura-chan. He won't hurt you or anyone else ever again, Naruto reassured her. He felt that this was for the best. Sasuke had become more like a rabid animal that needed to be put down, for everyone's sake. He was willing to jeopardize everyone's safety and well-being for his own selfish desires that included his newly discovered family and his friends. Yes, this is for the best, he told himself. Team 7 was finished after the prelims were over, and it was clear that nothing would ever be the same again. This past month has been a whirlwind for him. So many things had changed in such a short span of time, many of them wonderful, like learning of his true family, regaining a friend once thought to be lost to him forever, becoming a Chunin, and gaining his future brides. He looked over at his friends and family, then to the sky. My life has changed so much, but the things that I have gained and earned, I will never let them go, nor will I forget that it was my precious people that helped me get as far as I have. I will keep training, getting stronger for their sake. With that strength, I'll protect my fiancés and family from anything that threatens them. I'll make them all proud, become a great Hokage just like the ones before me, and my dad. That is a promise of a lifetime, Naruto swore, as he prepared to walk out of the hall with all of them, but a voice called him back. Naruto, Tsunade called out to him, making him turn around. Yeah, he replied. We need to talk to you about something. It's really important, Tsunade told him, her expression conveying, as such. He knew her well enough to know when she was serious. So he turned to the rest. Sakura-chan and Chiaki, I need to go. I'll try to visit later, he told them. Okay, bye, Ni-chan. Sakura pouted, but was perked back up slightly, as she hugged her tightly. He then walked in after his godmother to hear what was going on. Once he was inside, the doors closed behind him, a silence seal activating to prevent eavesdroppers from listening in. As it turned out, the Shinobi Council was still there, waiting expectantly for the news Jiraiya had to offer. He moved over to a file folder that contained a single message bearing the seal of the Tsukage, dated yesterday morning. This was delivered to my office yesterday morning from IWA. That old goat Inoki knows about Naruto, and about who he really is, he told them, making them gasp. Naruto tensed up too. He was always told that the Yondaime, his father, was their mortal and hated enemy. If they knew about him, they might have tried to hurt his family. If he knows, then he will more than likely want revenge, Hayashi surmised. Yeah, that's what I thought too. It turns out that he's known about him for several years, but chose to do nothing. He let the grudge die out when Minato died, saying in his letter that it was a waste of energy and time to hold a grudge against a dead man, and that he hoped that the younger generation wouldn't pick up on it. That's why we haven't heard much out of IWA for such a long time, Jiraiya explained. Sarutobi's jaw dropped. He could imagine that old goat laughing his head off, and at his expense. His face burned with embarrassment and indignation. Tsunade was equally shocked. She thought that she would be seeing IWA assassins inside for a few days, but this was a literal bombshell. The rest of the council shared looks of surprise. It was like seeing Kyuubi pop out of a cake, and saying that the attack was just his version of a practical joke. I'm not even finished yet. You see, that old fart has a granddaughter Naruto's age, and she's seen his profile, and a recent picture from a few days ago. He's toying with the idea of a political marriage to establish ties to our village in an attempt to jumpstart trade and the stagnant economy in his village, since she's kind of taken with the Jiraiya informed them, teasing his godson slightly at the end. The clan heads were giving this some serious thought, while Naruto's nervous system nearly fried out. What? How? He sputtered out, as he did his best impersonation of a fish out of water. Ga ha ha, the Gaki's speechless. I hear that she's a real looker too. You've got the goddess of good fortune looking out for you, kiddo. Now you've got 4 brides to please on your wedding night, so I hope you've got stamina. Minazuka laughed, and a couple of others were chuckling along. Naruto, I've already accepted on your behalf, and he's sending her here in the next few days to meet you, Jiraiya informed his godson, showing him a picture of the young Iwa Kunoichi in question. He had to admit that she was a looker. She had short bobbed ebony hair, and golden-colored eyes along with a face that reminded him of that crazy proctor lady from the second exam. She looked both pretty, but scary. However, those thoughts were the furthest things from his mind at the moment, as he let out one of the intelligent responses he was famous for. You what? Are you insane? He yelled, some of the old Naruto coming out. You heard me. You're getting every red-blooded male's wet dream. I could get research capital from you alone. Gay hee 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 ha ha. The Arrow Hokage cackled with mad glee. Jiraiya, what have I told you about using our godson for your research? Tsunade growled in disapproval. Tsunade, he answered meekly. You don't, will you? She asked him, to which he shook his head no so fast, they thought he got whiplash. Good boy, she replied, patting his head while she turned to Naruto. I know this will be tough to deal with, but please give this a chance. She already likes you, from what we've heard. What we need to do now is explain the situation to the girls. Hopefully, they will understand. If not, I'm sure we can find another shinobi of good standing in your age group. You don't have to do this if it comes down to that, Naruto. I'm sure that Sasuke will understand. She soothed her fretting godson. If you say so, Obasan, Naruto replied, not sounding too relieved. The three brides-to-be were beyond wonderful, and honestly more than he believed he deserved, and he loved them dearly, but they expected more? He just didn't feel right about it. Naruto, what's wrong? You can tell me, she told him gently, as she slipped an arm around him. If there was one thing she knew about her godson, it was how to get him to open up to her. He needed a motherly presence in his life, and he seemed to accept her, as such. It's just what about the others? I mean, I already have more than I really deserve, and I don't think it's really fair to the girls to introduce another girl into this, Naruto explained. Tsunade understood what his problem was immediately after he said that. He's loyal to them to a fault, and that proves that he's no pervert. You're really one in a million, brat. I understand, Naruto-san, and I commend you on your steadfast loyalty to my daughter. Many young men would have jumped at the chance to add another woman to their betrothal, but you resisted. I will talk with Hinata about this, as well as Kensei Dano and Tenin Dano, and get their thoughts on this matter. They will talk with their daughters, and we can work from there. How does that sound? Hayashi offered, further calming the fretting Chunin down. I'll talk with them too, Naruto. I'm your godmother, so it's pretty much a given that I want to look out for you, Tsunade added, nudging Jiraiya. What? He asked. Well, you forced him into this by accepting without telling him, so you need to help him smooth things over, Tsunade chided. Oh yeah, he had that. Yeah, sure, I'll lend a hand, he agreed, mainly after seeing the vein on Tsunade's neck enlarge seemingly on its own volition. He thought about it for a moment, and relented. It would at least give his girls a chance to voice their opinions on the subject, and give him a chance to talk with Hayato Jizan, Nyo Wenshin, and Shigeru Wenshin, and the other sensei about it. At least Tsunade Basin is willing to compromise on it. The young blonde sighed to himself, as he exited the hall, and proceeded to head back to Ryazanpaku, hoping that their training/ass-kicking sessions would help him focus on the problem he now faced. Wait a minute, Naruto halted his walk out the door, and spun around quickly. Oi Gigi Kyufu, didn't you two say that you had to hide who I was to prevent IWA from coming to kill me? Naruto asked, a sharp tone in his voice. Well yeah, that's what we thought, Jiraiya answered. Damn that old goat, Naruto snarled in anger. What's wrong, Tsunade was about to ask, until she got what he meant. If that old goat had just come out with it in the first place, we could have announced his birthright much sooner, and spared him so much trouble and heartache, she surmised sadly. What's the problem, Naruto-kun? Inoichi asked. Yeah, what's eating ya, kid? Sam added. If he had just told Gigi in the first place, then he could have told me who my parents were years ago. I just wanted to know their names. I didn't care what they meant to anybody, about who or what they were. I just wanted to know, damn it, Naruto yelled, his anger starting to boil. You know he is correct on that account, Hayashi agreed. Do you think he knew how Naruto was being treated up until now? Chuz asked. There's no way of telling until we talk with him in person. He will be arriving with his granddaughter sometime tomorrow. We can ask him then, Sarutobi answered. Good, I want to know what kind of sick joke he was playing when Naruto snarled. Naruto-chan, please calm down. You know if he hadn't done that, you might not have had some of the things you have now, like Sakura-chan, your aunt, and the girls, Tsunade soothed him. He almost immediately calmed down. You're right, I might have turned out like the team, I'm sorry, Obasan Kyufu, for yelling like that. Naruto apologized, ashamed of himself. It's okay, kiddo. You had a good reason to be upset. That info coming out would have saved you from a lot of hardships, but that's all in the past now, and you're stronger for it, Tsunade soothed him. Man, what else could happen today, he asked himself, as if to tempt fate. Outside of the village. So Sasuke-kun got himself into trouble, and will be executed tomorrow. Did I hear you correctly? Kabuto asked the three elite shinobi of Orochimaru's personal guard, as he pinched the bridge of his nose in an attempt to ward off a migraine. They had called for reinforcements to pull off the mission, so he brought along Kimimaro, and Karen, another medic, and a contingent of sound jounin who were waiting near the border. She was brought to keep Kimimaro's disease under control, and to help improve Sasuke's curse mark. During the time they were there, she stuck close to Tayuya, one of her only friends since King died during the exams. Yeah, he tried to smack this one kid who mouthed off to him, but his ex-teammate took him down. More people showed up and took him away. While they were transporting him, he blabbed about defecting and tried to escape, but they stopped him coldly and imprisoned him. Now, they decided to execute him for treason. He's being imprisoned in the high-security wing of the ANBU prison, as we speak, Sakan informed Snake Sanon's right-hand man. That little fool, Kabuto growled in displeasure. That little Uchiha fucker's more trouble than he's worth. I say we leave him for the fucking crows. Taiya groused. No, Lord Orochimaru will have his new body. We will go in and take him back tonight. Kimimaro told them, the tone of voice he used, leaving no room for arguments. Yeah, but... Kidomaru tried to reason, but was held at knife point. We will carry out Lord Orochimaru's will. Do not forget who your master is, he threatened them. Yeah, how could we fucking forget with that damned hickey on us like collars? Taiya growled. She wasn't recruited like they were. She was forced into his service after her mother was killed, a refugee from a now-defunct country called Yuzushio. She was shown to have a talent with genjutsu and large chakra reserves, so he branded her. To her, the seal is nothing but a slave collar, but it was people like Kabuto and Kimimaro, they either fanatically loyal or really slimy types, that made sure she served her function like now. Hey, at least Fat Ass got released from his seal. I hope he's doing better where he is, the foul-mouthed redhead thought, as she was jarred from her thoughts. We move tonight. Lord Orochimaru's insider has made special arrangements for us, and has given us an added target, this girl, Kabuto informed them, showing them a picture of a young pink-haired girl, no more than 6 at the most. Who's the brat? Kidomaru asked. Her name is Haruno Sakura and Uzumaki. Lord Orochimaru would be most pleased to experiment on her, and possibly breed more. Kabuto answered, his grin something vile. Tayuya's eyes flew wide at the mention of the name Uzumaki. Holy shit me, and Karen, we ain't the last, she thought. Some time ago, she discovered that Karen was a blood relative of hers, and they kept that information a secret. Who knew what they would do if they found out? We will need to be careful though. She is being guarded by her cousin. He is none other than the Kyuubi Jinchuriki, Uzumaki Naruto. He is a recently promoted chunin, and he fought and defeated not only Sasuke-kun and the Hyuga genius, but also Tsuna's Jinchuriki at his full strength, all within an hour's time. Kabuto warned them. He got all of this information from a disenfranchised member of the old council, a certain Warhawk. Naruto had proven himself to be quite a threat. Although he isn't the only danger within those walls, Ryuzanpaku, some of the only people Lord Orochimaru fears are their, Kabuto thought, but withheld the information. Again, the red head went off with an alarm. Oh my god, that blonde runt really is an Uzumaki. I just thought it was a coincidence that I can't do this. Taiya warred within herself. She knew that she had to follow her orders, or she would suffer a fate worse than death. But she now knew they weren't the last. There were others left besides them. That sick fuck told me they were all dead. Now he wants one to experiment on and carve up like a turkey. There's no way in hell I'm that happening. Karen swore within herself as she tried to come up with a plan. They were running out of time. The two then made an unspoken choice during the mission. They defect if possible. If not, they at least make sure that the little girl doesn't fall into Orochimaru's hands. Come, we will wait until dark, and for when the signal will be given, Kabuto ordered, as they followed him. Later that night, nighttime fell quickly on the village, as they awaited the signal to attack. Deep in the jail cells, a root Anbu cleaned the blood off of his blade, casting his blank stare down at the two jounin who were guarding Sasuke. He then opened the doors, and freed him, removing the restraints and seals that he could. He then set off a decoy explosion on the opposite side of the village, as a distraction, and, as the signal he was ordered to give, Kabuto, and Taiuya, Karen, and Kidomaru retrieve Sasuke while Kimimaro, Sakan, and himself go to achieve their secondary objective, pelting over the Harino household. Kabuto and his team were able to move in relatively easily due to the chaos the distraction caused, and kicked in the door to the house. Who are you? What do you want? Takato demanded of the intruders, trying to defend his family. He got a bony knife in his shoulder for his troubles from Kimimaro, while Chiaki stood in front of her daughter. Who we are is irrelevant. What we want is the girl. Lord Orochimaru has plans for her, and we have come to get her, Kagaya said in a hollow tone. There is no need for pointless bloodshed. All we want is the girl. Kabuto smirked, his voice laced with false compassion. Over my dead body, Chiaki snarled, as she turned to her daughter, and shoved her into a closet. Sakura-chan, don't come out, she ordered, as she tried to at least make enough of a commotion to attract other ninja. She vaulted at them with surprising speed, as she uncorked a mid-level water, nailing Sakan, and sending him out into the street, where she quickly ran out, and fired off as big of a fireball as she could, hoping someone saw it until she received a blow to the back of her head, as Kimimaro moved in to finish her off, but Kabuto stopped him. Forget her, and that weakling inside. Grab the brat, and let's get out of here before we have to fight the whole village," Kabuto ordered. He relented, and did as he was told. Afterwards they ran off into the night just as Naruto arrived on the scene with Iruka, Kizara, and Takeda. Upon finding Chiaki down, he flew over to her side, as Kizara and Iruka performed some emergency first aid. "Who did this? Where's your husband, and Sakura-chan?" Naruto asked frantically. "Takato inside. They took Sakura-chan," the woman managed to grate out. "Who?" Naruto asked again. Sound white hair was all she could say before she passed out again. "We need to get them to the hospital now," Kizara stated, as Takeda rushed into the house, and carried out Takato, Iruka shouldering Chiaki. Naruto nodded reluctantly, as they sped off to the hospital. Konoha Hospital. They made it to the hospital within a few moments, and rushed the wounded Harunos into surgery. Takato's wound turned out to be light, and Chiaki had a minor concussion. She was damn lucky they didn't kill them both, Tsunade told them, as she finished working on them. Jiraiya, Sarutobi joined them with grave looks on their faces. "The Uchiha has escaped. It looks like he was busted out by someone, and I bet it was Orochimaru," Jiraiya growled out. Chiaki Obasan said something about sound and white hair. "That snake-ass kidnapped Sakura-chan too?" Naruto exclaimed, as he tried to rush out of the door to follow them. "Hold it, Runt. We need to put together a team to go after them," Jiraiya ordered. Naruto halted in his tracks and turned on his anger. "Those bastards are getting away," he replied. "You won't get very far, and even if you do manage to find them, you can't do it alone. Those white-haired shinobi Chiaki mentioned had to have been Yakushi Kabuto and Kagaya Kimimaro, two of that snake's top ninja, and he no doubt has more waiting. We'll put together a team to get her back, and put the Uchiha down for good," Tsunade told him. "I want to be on the team that goes," Naruto insisted. "That's one slot filled. Now for the rest," Jiraiya thought, as they went over the potential candidates. "Somewhere else." "So the Uchiha prodigy has defected from Konoha?" a voice asked. "Yes. From what we could gather from our intelligence network, Uchiha Sasuke was arrested for assaulting his superiors, a small girl, and caught when he tried to defect. He was going to get the death sentence, but Orochimaru had his followers break him out of prison, and are now en route to him. We can only ascertain that he intends to take the Uchiha's body as his own," another voice added. "I sense that is not all? What is that foolish group my father started up to these days?" the man asked, bored. "No, it is not, my lord One Fist. It seems as though they have taken on an apprentice," the spy replied. "I thought that after killing their first one, that Shirahama Kenichi brat, they would learn Loki." "Who is this new brat?" the One Fist demanded. "The apprentice is a young boy from Konoha, and one of their ninjas, one Uzumaki Naruto, 13 years old, and he recently earned a promotion to Chunin. He was the dead last of his academy class, but it is highly likely that his grades and education were sabotaged. Yet during the Chunin exam finals, he not only defeated the Hyuga prodigy, Hyuga Niji, but also Uchiha Sasuke himself, and Gaara, the Suna Jinchuriki, without resorting to using his demon chakra. However, any information beyond this, and his basic statistics is beyond my means. It seems as though his records were destroyed or non-existent," Loki replied. "What? Why would they do that to a genin of that quality?" One Fist inquired. It seemed like a horrible waste of talent, but it spoke highly of his potential if he came this far on determination alone. "That is a mystery to me, as well, sir. However, there are signs that point to the boy being a Jinchuriki," Loki reported. This piece of information greatly intrigued the other fists. "Really? How so?" Agar Jumsai, the Muay Thai master of YMI, asked. Loki cleared his throat to continue. "According to what my spies within Orochimaru's camp had reported, the boy was able to tap into a different power, and hold Orochimaru himself at bay, killing off one of his larger summons single-handedly, and stopping another cold with brute force. Then, there is his unnatural stamina, and seemingly endless reserves of chakra. Lastly, according to the records from over 12 years ago," Loki added, with another master cutting him off. "The Kyuubi incident, we know this already, Loki," a woman drew out. "She was Kusanada Mikumo, the bewitching fist. According to my spies within Konoha's walls, the boy has been spit upon since his birth the very night of the Kyuubi incident," Loki supplied. "But it was widely known that the Yondaime Hokage killed the beast, and himself in the process." A massive, hulking man with a mask, Diego Carlo, the steel laughing fist, said in disbelief. "But the boy is of the right age," Hongo Akira, the god fist, replied. "The boy must have gone through a very harsh life, but to have thrived, as he has, his fighting spirit must be very strong." Ciro Ramon, the fist of Brahman, stated. "Ka ka 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 ka, the boy has a real demon in him." Silcardo Genizad, the demon fist god, surmised, and cackled. To the rest, understanding dawned on them, as it was no mystery, as to how Jinchuriki are created. "The boy is the holder of the Kyuubi, and he can control a portion of its power. On top of being so young, he would be a boon to our cause once his power matured had he not been contaminated with my father's ideals. He is now a critical threat that must be dealt with, but we must first gauge his strength. Send out the apprentices to test the Uzumaki. Tyrowit and Boris should be enough. Tyrowit to fight him, and Boris to bear witness. I wish to test how strong the disciple of my father is. The One Fist decided. He turned to a group of shadows. Agard Alexander, inform your disciples of their targets. They need to head out to the fire/rice border and await their target, he ordered. Got it. He's been telling me he's been bored lately. Agard complied. It will be done, leader in Russian Cyrillic, Alexander answered. What about the Uchiha, Lord Saiga? Loki asked. He is of no interest to me. If he interferes, Tyrowit and Boris may dispose of him, the now named One Fist answered. Agard Jumsai and Tyrowit Cookin hail from the same island nation as Apachai, as well as his form of martial arts. While Apachai knew Muay Thai and taught it to Naruto, there was another aspect to it that Apachai hid from him, and for a good reason. While Muay Thai is lethal enough by itself, its ancestor Muay Baran is far more effective, which is what Agard and his disciples specialize in. One especially lethal technique is called the Yen Erwan, which can kill someone with ease courtesy of a very powerful knee thrust to the heart, and inducing deadly heart trauma, capped off with an elbow to the crown of the head. Alexander Gaidar and his disciple, Boris Ivanov, both hail from another continent far to the west which holds the country of Russia. There they have a special division of their army which is highly trained, fanatically loyal, and lethal to a near inhuman degree, and could give the shinobi a hard time called the Spetsnaz. They even developed their own combat style which centered around grappling. The key was to induce as much pain as possible with various joint targeting locks and holds, with throws and striking mixed to even it out. It is called Command Sambo. Among the elite, Alexander and his protege stand out amongst them, as the elite of the elite. The two masters informed their students of their tasks, who took to it with seeming indifference. Boris was simply following his commander's orders, and while Tyrowit seemed indifferent due to the fact that his target is younger than him by at least 4 years, he was wanting to test himself against the Jinchuriki. He had heard no end of stories of their power. He had also heard of the Uchiha clan's Sharingan, and its ability to copy anything it sees. He was glad that he was authorized to eliminate the Uchiha if necessary, since he abhorred it so much. Stealing styles, and not having to work for it was considered sacrilege, a cardinal sin for those who followed martial arts, as they did. Saiga looked at the target picture once again, but something caught his eye this time. It was the expression on the boy's face that reminded him of the one person he once considered a critical threat. This boy looks like cousin Minato, only younger. Could he really be, and could father know? If he is Minato's son, and related to us by blood, his potential will be phenomenal, even without the Kuramisego blood within him. Saiga wondered but shook it off. Loki, I need you to get more information on the Uzumaki. Do whatever it takes, Saiga ordered, as he himself withdrew into his thoughts once again. I will reclaim my daughter, and keep the secrets of the Kuramisego for myself. Shizuha was foolish for protecting her from me. En route to Rice Country, pelting through the forest at a rapid clip was the Sound Team, making their way back to their master with one of their prizes sitting in a barrel lashed to Sakan's back, and little Sakura, under a forced sleep, being carried by Karen. Kabuto did that when Sakura wouldn't stop struggling, and Orochimaru would have their heads if she was damaged in any way. Initially, Sakura's struggling had set them back a little bit, so they were running behind. They had only just reached the halfway point when Tayuya set the barrel down when it was her turn to carry it, complaining of stiff shoulders. But Karen knew that it was a ploy to buy enough time for the inevitable rescue team to catch up to them, and leave them obvious clues. Their plan was to stall, as much as possible, since Karen made frequent excuses to stop and check on the Uchiha's status, since she was the only one among them who really knew anything about the cursed seals. Even Kabuto wouldn't question her on that subject, so her ruse would work, as long as she made it believable. Each stop took more than 15 minutes, and she checked him twice an hour, buying the search team's valuable time. Back in the village, in a matter of hours, Jiraiya had gathered together a team to track down the escaped convict, kidnappers, and the victim. Over the course of an hour, as the word spread, many who were friends of the family, Naruto, or both were throwing themselves at the Hokage, begging to be allowed onto the team. Even Ino had volunteered to go on the mission, and a member of the Inuzuka volunteered to go to make amends for Kiba's deplorable actions. One Inuzuka Hana, a Chunin, an expert tracker and medic. OK, team assignments are Shikamaru, Hana, Naruto, and Ino on Team 1. On Team 2, we have Kazara, Takeda, Hinata, and Raichi. Jiraiya rattled off, as the mentioned shinobi confirmed it. He was just about done when the door burst open again to reveal Chiaki, clad in her old Chunin vest and kunoichi clothes, ready for combat. Hokage-sama Chunin Haruno Uzumaki Chiaki requesting reinstatement. an assignment to the rescue/retrieval team. She practically demanded, determination burning as brightly in her eyes as it did in her elder sister. "I'm sorry, Chiaki," but Jiraiya was about to tell her, but a voice cut him off. "I'll stay. I don't want to stand between a mother and her daughter. Sakura's my best friend. I wanted to see her again, and help to make up for the horrible things I said and did to her and Naruto-kun, but it would be better if her mother went instead of me," Ino stated. Jiraiya had to admit, trading a rookie genin out for a seasoned chunin was a good trade-off. She turned to Naruto and gave him a kiss on the cheek. It was a friendly one, almost platonic, but the other females in the room could tell there was real affection within it. Hinata and Raichi weren't terribly happy about what had transpired, believing that Ino was only after him due to his advancement in rank and skill, just like when she was after Sasuke. "Stay safe out there, Naruto-kun Shika," she told him, and told her teammate Shikamaru, nodding. "Ino, we need to talk when I get back," Naruto replied, turning sharply to the door. She simply smiled as she went home, satisfied with his desire to at least converse with her. Jiraiya was reluctant to allow Chiaki to join this mission. "Chiaki, did you even get released by the hospital before you changed and came here?" Jiraiya sighed. "Hano," she replied sheepishly, making him sigh again. "Just like your sister," he muttered, as he cleared his throat. "Since there's no way to knock any sense into you, you can take Yamanaka Ino's slot on Naruto's team. Now, the most direct route to Rice Country will pass through the Valley of the End. This is the route you all should take heading in. We have no idea as to their force strength, but 2 of the known shinobi are Yakushi Kabuto, a Jounin-class trader and medical specialist, and Kagaya Kimimaro, one of Orochimaru's most fanatical supporters and the last known user of the Shikatsu Myaku. It allows him to use his own bones as weapons, and both of them are extremely dangerous A-class threats. If they manage to take off the seals we put on the Uchiha, he will also be a threat, around B rank due to the cursed seal and his eyes. All enemy shinobi are expendable, however. Special priority goes to the Uchiha. He must not be allowed to escape," Jiraiya stressed, as they left for the gate. Konoha main gate. The 2 teams were going over final checks to equipment and getting final farewells and advice before they left on the mission. Renka, who wasn't a kunoichi, couldn't go on a sanctioned mission, so she was forced to remain behind, but not without giving her affection to her husband. Naruto stumbled back to his team, Hana ribbing him slightly. "Lucky brat," she chuckled, as Kizaru and Takeda added to it. "Yeah, but he's a good kid," Kizaru added to it. "Those girls are all really cute. Mio-chan is a smoking hottie, but her grandfather is insane." "But who is this lovely vision here?" Takeda asked Hana. "Inuzuka Hana Chunin, and medic," she replied playfully, much to Kizaru's ire, as Jiraiya appeared at the gate to see them off, all of them snapping to attention. "You all know what has to be done, so I won't beat a dead horse. All I ask is that you all watch out for each other out there." "Dismissed," Jiraiya bellowed, sending them on their way. "Kami be with you all," he muttered, heading back into the village. Jiraiya turned back, but didn't notice a group leave from over the walls. "Appa, we're going to help rescue Sakura-chan, right?" Appa-chai asked Mio, who slapped a hand over his mouth. "We need to follow them without them knowing, and I don't want grandfather and the others to stop us. I don't want any of them to get hurt if I can help it," Mio replied, Shigeru behind them agreeing. She had followed them stealthily, and kept an eye on the only remaining family she had left. "Do not worry, Mio, we already know, and I have come to help," Shigeru thought, as she tailed them. She had gained a semi-autonomous status in return for her excellent service record, somewhat like what the Sannin enjoyed. And through the gates right after the main group left came Kakashi, back from an A-rank mission out of the country, and intending on resting a while. It seemed as though since he threw himself at Naruto's mercy, the nightmares were waning, but still frightening. He knew that he would have to work very hard to earn his forgiveness. "I wonder what happened," he asked himself, as he ventured over towards the tower to make his report and sleep. Outlying forests near the rice fire border. The teams made their way through the forest, following the scent left behind by the kidnappers and escapees. Shikamaru thought that something was suspicious, like all of these clues being left behind on purpose and leading them into a trap. Shikamaru then advised that they split apart into 2 teams, one led by Hana and her Himura triplets, and the other by Chiaki Haruno. Hana led her team in the direction of the clues while Chiaki and her team took a parallel route to avoid everyone getting caught in an ambush, and to cover their backs until they felt a dark and heavy chakra pulse rip through the forest just ahead of them. Near them, Karen had halted the team so she could check on the Uchiha's seal again. However, Kabuto was growing suspicious of her behavior. "Karen, a word, my dear?" he told her sweetly. She suddenly jolted in fear. No matter how hard she tried to fight it, she was quivering with fright. She wasn't meant to be a fighter, only a scientist, so she would stand no chance against Kabuto. He slowly backed her into a tree, as he stared her down, taking in her current state. He now knew that something was wrong. "Oh, Karen betraying us, are we?" he asked her in a mocking tone. What? And no, I wasn't." She tried to protest, but Kabuto grabbed her by the throat. "You are a very poor liar, Karen-chan. I know that you have been stalling us so that a rescue team can catch up. But why? Let's see. Oh, I know. You are an Uzumaki just like Sakura-chan here, and Tayuya-chan too. My lord Orochimaru will have a lot of breeding stock to choose from once we return," Kabuto stated aloud dramatically, mocking the two kunoichi. "Shit, that Four Eyes found out," Tayuya growled, as she slept over next to Karen, knocked Kabuto away, as she handed the girl off to Karen. "Karen, run. I'll hold them off, as long as I can. Just run back toward Konoha, and hand the girl off to them," Tayuya ordered. But Karen tried to reason with her, but was cut off. "Just go. Make sure that brat gets home," Tayuya screamed, as she activated her curse seal to fight the others off. Karen was about to run, when Kabuto intercepted her with a glowing palm to her chest, making her lungs seize up. "I'll take that," Kabuto said quickly, as he snatched the girl from Karen, and kept away, just in time for the Konoha team to show up. Tayuya didn't notice them, but saw Kabuto take Karen down. "I won't let you take her to that snake bastard," Tayuya yelled, as he ripped after Kabuto, the rest of the team following them. What the hell happened here? They were fighting each other. But why? Shikamaru asked. "I don't know, but that girl feels familiar," Naruto said quietly. "Help Sakura," Karen croaked out in pain before collapsing. "Hana, help her," Chiaki yelled to the team medic, who complied immediately. Hana immediately found the problem, and re-expanded her lungs, allowing her to breathe properly. "Now what did you say about my daughter?" Chiaki asked the teenage girl firmly. Karen looked at her, and noticed that she had the same eyes as the girl, and herself, and Tayuya, as well. "Her mother? Help Tayuya, she is coughed, trying to rescue her, and take her back to your village. I stalled them as long as I could," Karen grated out. "So that was on purpose. What do you have to gain by helping us?" Shikamaru asked. "I'm an Uzumaki too. I thought Tayuya and I were the last. We decided that we needed to protect that girl," she replied painfully. Naruto's eyes went wide. "There are more? We aren't the last," Naruto thought, as he strode toward her. "I'm an Uzumaki too. Where is their meeting point?" he asked her gently. "It's the Valley of the End, that is where they are headed," Karen answered her. "Hana-nichan, can you take her back to the village for treatment? She deserves the benefit of the doubt," Naruto asked the older Chunin. "Of course, Naruto-kun. I'll be back, as quickly as I can," Hana answered, as she hefted her onto her shoulders, and sped off. "Now that we know where they're going, let's go," Naruto growled, the rest seeing no reason to argue. "Alright, let's go," Kizaru roared, as they all tore off in the direction of the fight they witnessed. Mio, Apachai, and Shigeru landed in the clearing behind them, trying to keep up with them, but stayed back far enough where they wouldn't be spotted. They overheard the whole dilemma, but opted to continue on, hoping that they had made it back to the village alright. Back in the village, Hana had just made it to the village's gate in a very short amount of time with a wounded person, sprinting nearly the whole way to the hospital to admit her. Upon getting her there, she immediately reported to the Hokage, who was just debriefing Kakashi from his mission. "Hana, what happened? You haven't even been gone for a couple of hours," Jiraiya exclaimed. She quickly explained the whole situation to him, making his eyes go wide. "There are more? I guess it's a good thing that they turned on old Snake Face to protect what little family they have left, or they would have been long gone by now," Jiraiya mused, as he thought of what to do. However, a solution presented itself. "Hokage-sama, I will go and back them up further, and to replace Hana. I'm sure she's tired, and I can use my summon hounds to track them down and catch up," Kakashi said, volunteering to go to her place. He'd been waiting for a chance to redeem himself in Naruto's eyes, and to make up for how much he failed his two remaining students. This was the chance he was waiting for. "Are you sure, Kakashi? Can I really trust you to do the right thing?" Jiraiya grilled him. He needed to know whose side Kakashi was really on, the village or the Uchiha. Sasuke needs to be put down for the sake of everyone everywhere. If Orochimaru gets his hands on the Sharingan, no one anywhere will be safe. If he manages to get hold of Sakura, I will never be able to face Naruto nor his parents or my friends in the afterlife. I'll do everything I can to make sure Sakura comes home safely, and Sasuke's head comes off," Kakashi swore. Jiraiya scrutinized the now seemingly reformed scarecrow with a very critical eye, as if he were peering into his very soul. Finally, after a tense moment, Jiraiya shifted. "Alright, Hataki, go join them, and for Kami's sake help bring them all home." Jiraiya dismissed him. Kakashi was gone in a flash, racing out to back up the rescue team at a breakneck pace. "I have to get there in time. I need to redeem myself," the copy nin chanted in his mind, as he increased his speed even more. Jiraiya turned his attention to the girl that Hana had brought back, Karen. Tsunade had already been there to see the girl, and further treated the injury Kabuto inflicted on her, as well as questioning her. Now let's cut to the heart of the matter, shall we? Tsunade inquired, looking like a lioness prowling the foot of her bed. Karen was almost willing to face Kabuto again, seeing the expression on the face of one of the Sannin. She steeled herself and explained what had happened. Well, I suppose I should start at the beginning. You see, Karen went into detail in explaining the situation that caused them to rebel against Orochimaru. About them being Uzumaki. Tsunade ordered that the blood sample that had been drawn be tested against Naruto's and her own, and she got the results back halfway through the story. She's telling the truth. It can't be. Tsunade gasped in shock. She turned and regarded the girl. Your story checks out. Blood can't lie, especially the blood in our veins. There are very unique markers in our DNA that cannot be found anywhere else. Yes, I am an Uzumaki too by my grandmother, but I am a Senju as well. Due to your actions in assisting our pursuit forces by slowing them down, we would like to offer you asylum here, Tsunade offered. But what about Tayuya? She's just like me. She tried to give me a chance to escape back here with the child, but Kabuto cut me off and took her. She went after him, but she can't fight them all off alone, Karen replied, her worry clear as day. Don't you worry, the forces we have in pursuit have already caught up, and have engaged them, thanks to the time you bought for them, Tsunade assured her. Back with the pursuit team. The teams had quickly caught up to Kabuto and his team, and a fight quickly ensued. One by one, the Sound team peeled off to fight with the Konoha nin. First, Sakan had peeled away to fight the team of Hinata and Raichi. The twin-headed nin regarded his opponents like one would a bug, something not worth his time. Looks like I got the easy draw. I'll be done with you too, and be on my way shortly, he commented nonchalantly, but Hinata was in his face with a Juken strike to his hand. It was all she could strike, as he pulled away, but it was no less effective. Sakan felt his hand go limp, since she fried the nerves, and left it unresponsive. Before he even had time to recover from his shock, Raichi let him have it with both barrels using her signature Suiken style, and scored several damaging hits. The punishment continued for a few moments until he found a brief moment to activate his cursed seal. The resulting pulse of chakra pushed the pair away from him, and gave him a little more breathing room, but his arm was still useless, just dangling at his side. Brother, why don't we separate for now? A seemingly disembodied voice suggested. And go level 2? I don't see why not. If anything, we can rest for a bit after we've taken out the trash, Sakan replied, as they felt another build-up of that dark chakra. Hinata's Byakugan eyes widened a bit, but Raichi had a plan already. Rush M, Hina-chan, I'll keep their attention on me while you shut them down. We can't waste time with these guys, she hissed to her fellow bride-to-be. In a snap, Raichi launched a brace of weapons at the still transforming nin, while Hinata rushed in behind them. Sakan was forced to dodge them, but sailed right into the path of the enraged Hyuga. He tried to swat at her to make her veer off course, but she slapped the pitiful strike aside easily, and went into the Hakarokujuyu, shutting him down completely. Sakan and his conjoined twin were only half separated when they went down, looking like two torsos growing from one body. Sakan and Yukon looked at their opponents with mortal terror in their eyes, frantically trying to reuse the seal, but their systems just wouldn't respond, like it wasn't even there. Not so smug now, are you? Raichi glowered down at the fallen nin, Hinata's Byakugan enhanced scowl next to her, making the normally kind and gentle girl look frightening. Hinata smacked him with a final blow to the head, taking him down, and out for at least a couple of days. Without waiting, she and Raichi set to work unbinding him, and taking him back to the village so they could get back out there with the one they loved, Takeda and Kazara. For the second fight, Kidumura had hung back to fight Kazara and Takeda. In the beginning, Kidumura thought that he had a glaring advantage over them since they seemed to favor taijutsu, but their immense speed and striking power knocked him for a loop whenever they connected. He had to resort to summoning his spiders to aid him in his fight. Kazara tried to shake them off, but she was eventually bitten. What the hell? She staggered until she collapsed, her breathing labored. Takeda was at her side in a flash. Kazara? Kazara? He tried rousing her, but she was out for now. Her breathing was fine, as was her pulse, but her coloring was beginning to pale. You bastard, what did you do to her? Takeda growled. Do you like it? Don't bother with trying to save her since won't be leaving her alive, either. The Spider-Man wannabe sneered, as more spiders came down at his target. Takeda saw them, and responded with a special technique he had been experimenting with. I hope this works for Kazara-chan's sake, he thought, as he activated his state. Auto-rhythm. Takeda became a whirlwind of fists, creating a perimeter of blows that the spiders, no matter how numerous, could not penetrate. Kidumura was now getting angry since his attacks weren't getting through, so he decided to get very personal. Using his special webbing, he crafted a bow for himself, and used that same material for an arrow, which he aimed directly at Kazara, and fired. Having only fractions of a second to react, and still being in autorhythm mode, he was able to react more quickly, and managed to snap her out of the way before the arrow struck, but got grazed for it. You got lucky that time, but how about another one? Hot shot! Kidumura yelled, as he attempted to transform into his second state. Like the others, this took a little bit of time, but Takeda wasn't a chunin for nothing, so he recognized an opening when he saw one. Gathering his chakra into his legs, he darted towards the spider Nin with alarming speed. Kidumura barely had time to dodge the first incoming blow after the transformation had completed before a second impacted dead in the face, launching him away. Damn, I wanted to keep him here and punish him a little more. The ashen-haired pugilist grunted as he chased his quarry back down again, but he was nowhere to be seen. Where the hell is he? Takeda muttered, but an arrow answered his question. He was able to avoid a critical hit, but his right shoulder had been pierced through, leaving a near gaping hole, and crippling his effectiveness. What's the matter, hotshot? Not feeling very well? The grotesque Nin taunted, as he strung up another shot, and fired, this one hitting Takeda's left leg, and further robbed him of his mobility. Shit, Kizaru-chan, he bit out through his pain, reaching for her. I can't avenge your little girlfriend? Don't worry, after I finish you, she'll join you in hell. Kidumura laughed, as he strung another shot, but a sudden breeze brushed its way past him. Suddenly, he felt it impossible to breathe, as if, in a spray of blood, Kidumura's head slid from his body, the look of total shock forever frozen on his face. Takeda was just as shocked that he and Kizaru had been saved, but he couldn't see or even detect their rescuer. Suddenly, the air shifted behind him, and he whirled around, as quickly as he could, to find one of the Ryazanpaku masters standing there. Shigeru. You don't know how glad I am to see you, he grunted out, as he tried to stand himself up, using a tree for support. Just stay here. I will signal a medic team that is coming soon to your location, she told him, as she waited there for them to arrive. In the meantime, she took to administering a small antivenom of Kisame's design to Kizaru that brought some color back to her cheeks, much to Takeda's comfort. He cradled her head, and released a shuddering breath, thankful that she was going to live through this. Kizaru's eyes slowly opened up to see her longtime friend staring back at her, a sad smile on his face. Takeda, what happened to me? She asked. You got bitten by one of those spiders, but Shigeru-senpai helped me save you. I don't know what I would have done if I lost you too, he confided in her. Kizaru was stunned to hear such a confession from him, but was somewhat moved by it nonetheless. However, she still had a reputation to uphold. Don't get all mushy on me, but thanks, she replied, as they waited for a medic to arrive to flush the poison from her system completely. Kabuto and Kimimaro felt the barrel they carried begin to shake. He's almost ready. Good, Kabuto commented, as they continued on their way, and met up with the contingent of Odo shinobi they had brought along just in case they were pursued. These forces were meant to give Kabuto and Sasuke enough time to escape beyond the border with their additional prize, Sakura, but they hadn't expected Karen and Tayuya to turn on them, and for the pursuing forces to be so numerous. God damn it! Get your ass back here, Four Eyes, Tayuya roared, her curse seal still active. Ah, Tayuya-chan, how nice of you to join us, but I'm afraid that you've just crashed a private affair, and I really take offense to that. Kabuto taunted, turning to the captain of the Odo shinobi. Keep the traitor entertained, he ordered, as he leapt off again. Tayuya tried to leap off after him, but she was intercepted by seemingly more and more Odo shinobi. Damn it, out of my way, piss rags, she snarled, whipping out her flute, and summoning her doki to fight. A little further away, Naruto, Shikamaru, and Chiaki had felt them come to a stop, and stepped up their pace in an attempt to catch up. They made it to a huge clearing in the forest, where they saw one of the Odo Kunoichi fighting a massive group of Odo shinobi, and being overwhelmed by their sheer numbers. Damn, she won't last long like this. We have to help her since she tried to help us, Naruto decided. Shikamaru was skeptical, but lately Naruto had changed. He wasn't the same knucklehead he used to be completely. He looked over to Chiaki, and could see that her mind was made up. Is the ranking ninja here, Sai Shikamaru mentally groaned, as they leapt in to aid her. What the hell are you doing? Four Eyes and his pet freak are getting away with that little girl, Tayuya screamed at them, but they were already on it. I'll stay here and help her, Naruto. You and Chiaki keep after them. Go! He yelled, as he used something his father taught him, since he decided to take his training more seriously. Kagenui, at his command, his shadow split into sharp tendrils and speared 4 shinobi that threatened to end Tayuya. Don't expect a thank you, asshat, she glowered, as she turned back to fighting the rest of them. Troublesome woman, he grumbled, as he set to work. Nearby, Mio and Apachai had been watching the whole thing unfold. Mio agreed to split off and help fight off the Odo shinobi while Apachai took off after Sakura. Just before an Odo shinobi could bury his kunai into Shikamaru's back, his neck was broken by a terribly powerful kick, the blows sending his body flying away like a rag doll. In his place, a blonde-haired girl with generous endowments stood. Nara-san, I came to help you, so get up, and keep fighting, Mio called out, as she quickly dispatched another attacker. What the hell's with other girl over there? She is with you? Taiyuya asked Shikamaru, who shrugged. I've seen her before, and she's from my village. I think she's Naruto's cousin or something like that, Shika answered, as they got back to work. Further on ahead, the barrel kept quivering and shaking violently, so they stopped and set it down. The display went on for a few more moments until the barrel could no longer contain what was inside it. It exploded in a shower of wood, and there stood Uchiha Sasuke, reborn, and more horrible than before. Sasuke-kun has been reborn. How very convenient, Kabuto smirked, as little Sakura stirred, and awoke due to the dark pulse of chakra. What? What's happening? Where's Mama? And Naruto and Ai-chan? She asked, frightened. So little Sakura-chan is awake now? Don't try to run, or else Kimimaro-kun or Sasuke-kun here will do terrible things to you. The four-eyed nin smirked at the little girl's mounting fear. What is she doing here? Sasuke drawled, sneering at the little girl. Orochimaru-sama desires her for a new breeding program that he is setting up. She is to be taken to him alive and unharmed, Kabuto ordered. TCH, I don't take orders from lackeys like the two of you. I just want power. Sasuke sneered again. If you do, as you are told, you will get that power. Understand? Kabuto retorted, not wanting to deal with this brat's high and mighty attitude. Sasuke seemed to back off and accept it for now. Good boy. Now we must be off before the pursuit forces can catch up to us again, Kabuto added, and they prepared to take off, but another pair burst into the clearing, alongside one of the most massive human beings they had ever seen. APA, give back Sakura-chan, the bronze-skinned giant bellowed. Mama, Naruto and Ai-chan, Apachai-san, Sakura cheered in delight. 3 of her favorite people were there to rescue her. More pests. Kimimaro-kun, deal with them, Kabuto ordered, the emotionless nin nodding, as he belted off to fight, but Apachai interrupted, engaging him in a brutal fury, and quickly proving to be more than a match for him. Valley of the End. The other 2 tried to get away with their prize, but Chiaki and Naruto were determined to not let them get away. After a few more minutes they finally caught up with them at the Valley of the End. Hey, you 2 are persistent, I'll give you that. However, now you have us to deal with, Kabuto smirked, as he lunged in to disable Chiaki, but she caught his hand, and delivered a crushing palm heel to his nose, breaking it, and forcing him back. You caught me by surprise last time, boy. Now I'm dead serious, Chiaki growled, her old skills and experience coming back to her. So, I underestimated you. Easily fixed, Kabuto hissed, as he fixed his nose and engaged her in a furious taijutsu duel, as Naruto and Sasuke faced off. I couldn't care less what those freaks want with the brat. I just want to prove I'm still more special than you. If I can kill you, I'll be that much closer to killing my brother. Sasuke sneered darkly, but another pair made their presence known with a burst of killing intent. So you are Uzumaki Naruto-kun. You seem taller in the pictures Master Agard showed me, the white-haired youth announced in a bored tone. And the other must be Uchiha Sasuke. I must admit that I am not impressed. The other youth added, more stout and muscular than his companion. And who the hell are you guys? I'm trying to get one of my family back and stop this traitor. Get out of the way, Naruto yelled in irritation. You think you could beat me? Hey, this will be easy. Sasuke smirked darkly, as he charged in only to be shut down by an extremely nasty combo that knocked him unconscious and bleeding from his ears. Yen Erawan. That was unsatisfying, Kukin remarked in a bored tone, turning back to Naruto. Who the hell are you guys? Naruto asked, his eyes narrowing. They had to be nasty if they put Sasuke away like that. We are members of Wyomai, those who are opposed to the Katsujukan, and those of Ryazanpaku. I am Tyrowit Kukin, student of Agar Jem Sai and Mui Baran. Tyrowit introduced himself. And I am Boris Ivanov, disciple of Master Alexander Gaidar and Russian Command Sambo. We challenge you to a duel of martial arts. Boris challenged. Just martial arts. We know of your shinobi status, Uzumaki-kun, and we ask that you abstain from using ninjutsu. It would be unsightly. Tyrowit laid out before him. Naruto looked over to where Chiaki was taking on Kabuto, and she was being overwhelmed. He managed to render her unconscious, and was about to run off with Sakura until a final person intercepted him, the last person he expected to see. Kakashi? Naruto asked aloud. I know I made a lot of mistakes, but it's time I stopped running from them, and corrected them, starting here. I won't let them take her away, and I will not let Sasuke escape punishment, the legendary Kopinin announced, as he engaged Kabuto with a fury that had not been seen from him in years, his Sharingan blazing with righteous fury. Naruto now had much less to worry about, as he turned back to them. Fine, let's get this over with so I can get Sakura-chan back home safely, Naruto declared, his face now a mask of sheer will and focus, as he wondered which one he would face. You will face me, Boris Ivanov, Boris declared, as he leapt down to face his opponent. "I will officiate over the duel," Tyrowit stated, leaving it to truly be a one-on-one duel. "Fight," he called out, as the two fighters clashed initially, but broke off to gauge each other's stances. "This guy he fights with grapples like Akasame-sensei, I wonder," Naruto wondered, as he formed a plan in his head. I must expect trickery from a ninja. They are weak when they try to fight toe-to-toe with martial artists, Boris surmised, as he lunged in to grapple with his smaller opponent. But since Naruto was smaller, but also faster, he was able to evade the grapple, and began to work him over using Ma-sensei's techniques. Naruto threw out a hailstorm of open palm blows, sharp kicks, and wrapped it all up with the shitenshu to knock his opponent away, and into a tree, toppling it. Boris staggered, and struggled to stand back up, as Tyrowit gauged the young shinobi's skill and fighting spirit. Uzumaki-kun appears to have quite the fighting spirit. He is still young, though only time will tell if he will be a worthy opponent if he lives that long. The life of a shinobi is rife with danger, the Muibaran disciple mused, as the fight rolled on. "You pack quite the punch for one so small, ninja. I see that my time is not wasted," Boris commented, as he got Naruto in a clinch, and proceeded to beat the living hell out of him with repeated blows to his torso, and finally ending it with a sophisticated armbar combined with a chokehold. "Struggle all you want. It will make no difference. I will complete my mission, and return to my master," Boris stated in a voice that was almost robotic, the look of a stone-cold killer in his eyes. Naruto struggled against the hold, trying to wriggle his way out of it. Finally, he managed to break his hold. "Freaking psycho," Naruto bellowed, twisting free and introducing the heel of his foot to the crown of Boris's skull, knocking him unconscious, just as Kakashi withdrew a lightning-covered fist from Kabuto's chest. "Naruto, are you alright?" Kakashi inquired, looking at the blonde's haggard condition. "Yeah, I'm fine, but don't let them get away with the theme or Sakura-chan," Naruto yelled, seeing Kabuto's wound heal quickly. The wily Otonin quickly grabbed Sasuke, made a few hand seals, and seeped into the ground, and escaped the battle with at least one of their objectives. "Damn it, you damn clowns ruined the mission!" Naruto turned to scream at the two mysterious fighters that had ambushed him, but they too had vanished. "Who were those guys? They sounded like they at least knew of you," Kakashi asked. "Yeah, and I-chan." "Who were they? They looked really mean," Sakura asked innocently. "I dunno, maybe the masters or Hayato-jiji would know. Let's just get Sakura-chan and Chiakio-basin out of here, and make sure the others are alright." "Come on, Sakura-chan, climb on my back," Naruto suggested, as Kakashi nodded, summoning a few of his tracker hounds. "Hey guys, take us to where the others are," he ordered, the 9 hounds howling in acknowledgement as they bounded off, the humans after them like a shot, Naruto carrying Sakura, and Kakashi carrying Chiaki. Konoha main gates. All teams had agreed to meet back at the main gates upon completing their objectives. So far, Hinata, Raichi, Kazara, Takeda, and Shikamaru had shown up, Tayuya coming with him since she requested to see the rest of the Uzumaki, and she did try to stall them, as long as she could. Behind them were Shigeru, Mio, and Apachai, who simply pummeling his opponent until he couldn't play anymore, and fell asleep, meaning that Kimimaro had died on his feet. Mio, Shikamaru, and Tayuya managed to repel their attackers, the remaining handful numbering in the single digits compared to the 100 that had come originally. Kazara was making a rapid recovery from Kidomaru's venom, and Takeda was having his wounds mended while Shigeru eagerly awaited the return of her adopted younger sibling. Jiraiya was also there at the gates, ready to dispense justice on the spot when the Uchiha was dragged back, Tsunade, and Shizen ready to treat any injuries that came through. Finally, Ino had shown up, eager to patch things up with Naruto after so long. Finally, Hinata's Byakugan-enhanced vision caught sight of a group of familiar signatures approaching them at high speeds, drawing closer every second. The signature then became close enough for her to make out who they were. "It's Naruto-kun. He has Sakura-chan with him. Hataki-san is following him with Chiaki-san over his shoulder, and he has his 9 hounds leading the way," Hinata cheered, but Jiraiya had a question for her. "What about the Uchiha?" he asked, the girl looking even more intensely. "No, I can't see him," she answered sadly. "Well, we'll just have to wait until they get here to explain what happened," Tsunade suggested. After a few more moments, the small group landed in front of them, as Tsunade and Shizen raced up to check them all for injuries. Naruto was somewhat beat up, Kakashi had moderate fatigue, Sakura was groggy, but Chiaki was in rough shape. Kakashi unloaded her carefully, and got out of Tsunade's way to let the treatment begin, as Naruto let Sakura down, or at least he tried, but she wouldn't get down. With a heaving sigh, he launched into explaining how the mission went down. "We chased after Kabuto and his lackeys, everyone peeling off to let the rest of us continue on. Soon, it was down to just Chiakio-basin and me when the barrel they stuffed the team in exploded. He felt dark, more evil than before. They jumped away, and left that creepy bone guy to fight us, but Apachai-sensei jumped in, and fought him for us, so we tore off after Team and Kabuto, catching up to them at this place with 2 huge statues. Naruto explained. Valley of the End, Jiraiya muttered, sensing the irony of it all. Chiakio Basin split off and attacked Kabuto while Team faced me, muttering something about killing his brother again when 2 more weirdos showed up. They said they were from Yami Yomi. They said that they had to challenge me, and they knew who I was. One of them messed up Sasuke in a few seconds, and I had to fight the other one. I beat him, but during the scuffle, that bastard Kabuto grabbed Sasuke and got away. I'll cream those jerks if I see him again, Naruto muttered, but the Ryuzanpaku in attendance all went silent, the 2 Sannin and the ex-Kage noticing. I trust you know of this group? Sarutobi inquired. Yes, those 2 groups are the antithesis of the Katsujinkan we follow. They follow the Satsujinkan, to kill all those they deem unworthy of living without remorse, where we of the Katsujinkan fight to defend life. A voice spoke up from behind them. Hayato and the other masters had arrived. I see. What will this mean for young Naruto? Sarutobi asked his old friend. They are now aware of the fact that we have taken on another disciple. We will have to step up his training if he is to stand a chance. It is good that he managed to defeat one of their disciples, but there will be others. They will be stronger than before, and will no doubt adapt to Naruto's tactics, Akasame explained. Wait, what? You had another before me? What happened to him or her? Naruto asked, almost dreading the answer. He was only a few years older than you are now, Naruto-chan. His name was Shirahama Kenichi, and we trained him out of pity, but he eventually grew strong in his own right. He was killed in a duel with one of Yami's disciples 3 years ago. I remember that young Neo was very attached to him, Hayato explained sadly, Neo's eyes watering at the memory. So he not only has the Akatsuki after him, but now these maniacs. But if push comes to shove, they will have me to deal with. I earned the title of Sannin for a damn good reason, Tsunade growled. She was not about to let them take one of the only links to her family she had left away from her, and on top of that, she was a very accomplished martial artist herself, having studied Kenpo in her youth. Jiraiya was no slouch either, having learned the Kawaza-Kumite, the frog-style martial arts, from the Toad sages themselves, making him a massive threat even without using. The other shinobi present were also muttering their agreement with her, willing to stand together with him, and face this new threat down. Even Tayuya was willing to throw her hat in the ring to preserve the few remaining blood ties she had in this world. It is good to see that you have so many good friends, and allies you can count on, Gaki. Not many people are so lucky. Sakaki grinned, as Jiraiya stood up, and addressed the teams. This mission is only a partial failure, since Sakura has been safely recovered, but the Uchiha was lost due to outside interference. At least everyone made it back alive. That is something we can live with. Jiraiya wrapped things up, as they all headed inside, but Ino wanted to speak with Naruto for a moment. The girls looked like they suspected Ino of wanting to worm her way into his good graces solely because she was shifting her obsession from the Uchiha to Naruto. But if Naruto promised to talk with her, they would trust him. Naruto handed the sleepy Sakura off to her father, who had come from the hospital so he could take her home. Naruto, I thank you for actually wanting to talk to me after everything that's happened. Ino started the conversation, albeit awkwardly. I made a promise, and I do my best to keep them, Naruto replied simply, his face expectant. I just wanted you to know that I really am sorry for everything that happened. I was just being a stupid kid, but that's no excuse for what I did to you, and Sakura. This all could have been avoided if I had just listened to my dad, Ino lamented. He could tell that she really meant what she was saying, not acting to get what she wanted like she usually did, but he let her continue. I should have known there was something wrong with her, but I that damned obsession with that damned Sasuke, I even started to drive my own parents away with it. Like I already had with my 2 childhood friends, Chuji and Shika. I knew those 2 since we were born, but, as soon as Chuji started being teased, I abandoned him. I'm so ashamed of myself for everything I've done, Ino cried out, now starting to sob, and laying her soul bare to him. All of the guilt she had bottled up inside had reached the breaking point, and now she was beginning to overflow. Everything mean and manipulative she did to everyone was now coming back to haunt her, especially one that she was being forced to face up to, the one that had become her greatest sin. To make matters worse, she was actually starting to have feelings for her fellow blonde, real and honest feelings that had been building up over the course of the past couple of months. When she saw Raichi kiss him outside the theater that one night, she realized that she fell for him, and fell hard, but no matter how hard she felt she tried, she would never be able to get him to see her in a romantic light, not after what she had done to him. Naruto was completely stunned with what Ino had just confessed to him, not really knowing how to respond to that, especially after she had him on a death grip, and was bawling her eyes out on his shoulder. He was trying to comfort her, clumsily, but at least he was trying. After a few more awkward moments, she pulled away slightly to give him a chance to speak. You explained yourself to me well enough, and I can tell that you aren't lying to me. Carrying around all of that guilt couldn't have been easy. Listen, we should talk more when we get the chance, and you really should talk with Shuji, and Shika too, but for now I forgive you, he told her. All of her stress and guilt suddenly drained from her body. She literally fainted on the spot, leaving Naruto to carry her home, and after that, head over to the hospital to see how the others were holding up. Nearby, Renka, Hinata, and Raichi had witnessed the whole thing, and after Hinata gauged her reactions with her Byakugan, she saw that Ino was 100% honest. All of that guilt had her so twisted up inside that she was now a jumbled mess. As hard as they tried to convince themselves that it was a ploy, the fact that she was honest and open about it burned that away, making them honestly feel sympathy and pity for her. They knew there were 2 more slots open, slots that would have to be filled eventually, and they wanted to be sure that their fellow brides could be trusted. No duplicity in mind. I think we all need to have a talk with her soon. Hinata summarized their thoughts, the other 2 agreeing. As much as I hate to admit it, that girl's really screwed up, but trying to put her life back together. She dumped that Uchiha piss rag before she saw him perform, so I think she's salvageable. Renka added her 2 cents. I agree with Renka-chan. She actually defended Naruto-kun before he fought. I heard everything because I was sitting nearby. Raichi concluded their discussion. I'm glad we got that out of the way. Renka cheered. She and her fellow fiancés marching back inside, but froze. She had forgotten something, but she just couldn't put her finger on it. You okay, Renka-chan? Raichi asked. Yeah, just had the weirdest feeling that I forgot something, she muttered, as her stomach rumbled. No use thinking on an empty stomach. Come on, let's go find Naruto and get some chow, she cheered, as they continued their march. Just behind them, a small delegation had landed right at the gates to Konoha, the thing that Renka forgot. 2 massive men with bulbous noses walked in front of 2 smaller people. One was a kunoichi around 13 to 14 years of age, and the last was a small, old man who wore the robes of the Tsuchikage. First time I've been to Konoha without getting flung at me left and right, Anoki remarked. Too many trees for my liking. Akatsuchi, the largest of the group, groaned. I kinda like it here, the lone female, Kuratsuchi, added with a grin. Air's clean here at least, and I can smell something good there. Kitsuchi, the father of the young kunoichi, remarked, his nose twitching. Dad, is food the only thing you think about? She moaned. Men gotta eat, my dear girl. The way to a man's heart is through his belly. That Naruto boy will probably have a big appetite. All growing boys do, the tall man chortled. Yeah, but I'm kinda embarrassed, Dad, she replied indignantly, as they proceeded further into the village. Come on you kids, that old goat Sarutobi's waiting for us, Anoki grumbled, his entourage following him again. Hokage's office. The group continued to draw odd stares as they ascended the steps to the Hokage's office, reaching the receptionist's desk. Could you be a dear and tell that stubborn old goat Anoki here to see him? The Tsuchikage requested. Yes, right away, Tsuchikage-sama, she stammered, as she buzzed them inside. No sooner than they stepped inside, they saw the man they came to see talking to his 2 remaining students, Jiraiya and Tsunade. Sarutobi, you stubborn old goat. How are you? And where is the young lad? Anoki asked. I've been better, that much I can say. As for Naruto, he just returned from an A-rank mission, his first, as a chunin only an hour ago. I'd wager he's either eating his fill at Ichiraku Ramen, or dozing off at home with his great-uncle, Sarutobi replied, but had something to add. Also, there have been some changes, as of a week ago. In the aftermath of Orochimaru's failed attempt to crush our village using Suna as his patsy, I appointed Jiraiya-kun here as my successor. He is now the Godame Hokage, Tsunade, and I his advisors. Also, Jiraiya-kun and Tsunade-chan are his godparents, so anything to do with Naruto-kun they will also have a say in it. Also, his legal guardian is Furinji Hayato, if you remember him, Sarutobi added, enjoying the look of stunned surprise on his face for once. Consider that payback for not telling me about letting go of the grudge. Naruto-kun's pretty steamed about that. Why? What impact could that have made? Anoki asked, honestly not knowing what happened, but the grim looks on their faces spoke volumes. Please explain, he asked, to which he was told the sad and grim story of Uzumaki Naruto's childhood and life until a month and a half ago. Then, his miraculous improvement under the right teachers when his great-uncle discovered his existence. Next, he fights in the Chunin exam finals, and subsequently defeats a Jinchuriki at full strength after so many matches. Anoki was saddened knowing that his attempt at a joke had caused the young boy to suffer unimaginably, but he felt a bit of pride for him for how he took all that pain, and channeled it into making himself stronger and better. Kitsuchi was impressed with the boy's sheer strength of will, while Kuratsuchi was even more taken with him after what she heard. She knew about the other fiancés, but that was just part of the deal, the way things went. Grooms like him were once in a lifetime, and she had no intention of settling down with some average nin, someone not able to keep up with her. She felt he could push her to her limits, just what she wanted. I really want to meet him. All of this just got me even more excited to finally meet him, Kuratsuchi stammered, trying like hell to regain her usual command confidence. I just want to ask what got you so hot and bothered over my godson. Just curiosity between us girls, Tsunade asked in a conspiratorial whisper. The once confident girl reduced to blushing again. Well, I think he's kinda cute with those whisker marks, and wide blue eyes, I mean. And the way he managed to rise above all that, he's the groom for me. She almost squealed. Note that I said almost. Kuratsuchi doesn't squeal, but she got damn close to it. Tsunade got a good chuckle out of it, but asked another question. You do know that he has 3 fiancées already, right? She asked. Yeah, Gramps told me about that, but I got a gut feeling he's worth it, she replied. Really? That's good to hear, especially when there will be one more eventually. You see, the stipulations state that there are 5 slots that have to be filled within 1 year's time. Any longer than that, he's SOL. His brides will be parceled off. That would be a real shame, since they really like the brat. Tsunade explained. Who are they? Will I get to meet them? She asked. Oh, I can guess that they want to meet you just as badly, Tsunade commented offhandedly. So Hayato is the kid's great-uncle? I can guess that Minato was his nephew, Anoki muttered, as he stroked his chin. Who's that, Gramps? Akatsuchi asked. Furinji Hayato. He was, and is still known, as the invincible Superman, a master of martial arts to such a degree that I don't think he's even human anymore, Anoki shuddered. A martial artist can't use it, so this old guy can't be that much of a threat. Akatsuchi snorted, his sister wisely keeping her mouth shut. The traitor Orochimaru is scared to death of him even now, and he wouldn't even come near this place without tricking Suna into attacking alongside him first. The other masters that have gathered around him are just as lethal. They are part of the reason why we never even got close to Konoha, and Kumo's Sandame Reikage was overthrown by his own shinobi because he wanted to throw all of them at the masters to avenge a loss. They were that scared of them, and you should be too, Katsuchi warned, bopping his son on the head, as Jiraiya sent for one of his ANBU. Ushi locates Uzumaki Naruto for me, and come back, we will go to where he is, Jiraiya instructed, as the ANBU nodded, and took off. Now we wait. Konoha Hospital. Naruto was wandering from room to room, seeing each of his friends that had been injured during the mission. Takeda and Kizaru were in the same room, Kizaru recovering from poison while Takeda had wounds to his arm and leg, but they were in pretty good spirits. On top of that, they seemed a little closer than they were before. Chiaki was recovering from overexertion, chakra depletion, and a moderate concussion, but she was already conscious. Naruto knew Kakashi deserved his thanks for coming to their rescue when they needed him the most, at least stopping Kabuto from killing her, and running off with Sakura again. The creepy part was that Kabuto recovered from having a Raikiri blowing through his chest in seemingly moments, that annoying healing ability saving that slimy bastard's hide again. The rest of the team came through with little to no injuries, Kakashi just down the hall due to exhaustion. Hey Naruto, hey yourself, Kakashi replied back casually, as he fished for something to talk about. Would you believe they took away my Aika? They gave me this weird fiction book called Lord of the Rings. It's kinda interesting though. I wouldn't mind some of what Mithril, Kakashi stated thoughtfully. I never thought I'd see the day you'd read something other than that smut book. Naruto chuckled, the tension in the room draining away. You know I can never be sorry enough for the way I treated you, and Sakura. He finally mentioned it. Yeah, but you really came through for us when we needed you. So you're forgiven, Kakashi-sensei. Get better, alright? Naruto said, as he left the room. He forgave me. He called me sensei again. The copynin whispered, as he quietly sobbed into his book, then slowly fell asleep. Dreamscape. Kakashi awoke in his hospital bed, but the room was gone, and everything was white. What's going on this time? He asked aloud, hoping that someone or something would answer his question. Kakashi, what the hell was that? He began to panic, hoping that this wasn't another nightmare. Kakashi, you have done well. The booming voice addressed him, but not in a malevolent manner. Instead, it seemed to be congratulating him, as wispy shapes appeared on his side. Kakashi, you earned his forgiveness. You helped save the last of the Uzumaki from the clutches of Orochimaru, and worse. We too shall forgive you. Be a better teacher to your next students, okay? Minato and Kushina thanked him. You really came though, just keep it up, and we'll see you up here when your time comes, alright? Obito and Rin. My son, you have redeemed yourself. Do not squander the second chance that has been granted to you, your mother, and I will want to hear of your life when you join us again. Sakumo, his father. All 5 of them smiled at him, and then disappeared in a brilliant flash, sending him back. Yendi, they forgave me too. The nightmares are over. He moaned in his sleep, sleeping soundly for the first time in what seemed ages, as tears ran down his cheeks freely. Finally, Naruto made his way to Karen's room, where the pretty red head was still recovering from the lung damage Kabuto dealt to her. Tayuya asleep in a chair next to the bed with her flute still in her grasp. "Hello, I'm Naruto, right?" she asked, starting the conversation. "Yeah, I'm Uzumaki Naruto. My mom was one," Naruto stated. "So was mine, and Tayuya-chan's too. It's nice to know we aren't the last. We're not alone anymore," she replied, tearing up slightly from happiness. They were safe now. Orochimaru couldn't touch them, and from what they were told, the current Hokage might be able to remove the cursed seal, thanks to some data he gleaned off of the Uchihas. A woman named Anko had hers removed only a few days ago, and she never felt more free, showing that it was possible. Hopefully, with the notes and knowledge she held about Orochimaru's research, she could help counter any vile thing he came up with in the future. She would now lend her aid to the place the rest of her clan called home, where she didn't have to constantly watch her back. "How many more are there?" she asked. "Well, there's me, JAYSEN, Sakura-chan, that's it, actually, not counting you, and Tayuya-chan," Naruto replied. "Oh, at least we're all together," Karen reasoned with a shrug. "What are you gonna do after you get out of here?" Naruto asked. "I was planning on staying here, maybe get a job working at the hospital. I did do medical research, after all," she explained. "Maybe Tsunade-san will hire you. She runs the hospital, and she's Nichan's right hand. If you're lucky, she might take you on, as a student," Naruto mentioned, her ears perking up. "That sounds like a nice plan." "Nice thinking, cousin," she mused aloud, as the door to the room opened, revealing Jiraiya, Tsunade, Sarutobi, and 5 other nin bearing the IWA symbol. "Akufa? What the hell are they doing here?" Naruto asked. "Yeah, I thought IWA hated Konoha something fierce," Tayuya agreed, something not seeming right to her. "They are actually here to see you," Jiraiya replied, drawing a look of surprise from the occupants of the room. "What for?" Naruto asked, suspicious of their motives. "I'll let the old farts here explain that." Jiraiya stepped aside, said old farts grumbling about disrespectful kids. "Naruto-kun, this is the Sandaime Tsuchikage, Inoki. Remember what we talked about after you arrested Uchiha Sasuke?" Sarutobi asked, nudging his memory a bit. Naruto's eyes went wide, but they narrowed. "Now I remember. That old fart thought it'd be funny to see us sweat over a grudge that didn't even exist anymore." Naruto fumed. He may have let it go, but he was still a little steamed about it. I know looking back, and after hearing of its side effects, I regret that. However, that isn't the only reason why we're here. I brought my granddaughter, Kuratsuchi, here to finally meet you in person. The betrothal between the two of you will be part of a treaty to help patch up the shaky relations between our villages," Inoki explained. Once again, Naruto had a deer-in-the-headlights look on his face. "Naruto-chan, come on, kiddo. We explained all of this, and I hope that Hayashi and the others have explained this to their daughters, too," Tsunade sighed. "Well, what the hell just happened here?" Tayuya asked, completely bewildered. The situation explained to the two newcomers. "Wow, nice going, cuz." "From zero to hero," Karen teased her newfound relation. "Well, now Shrimpy's got some animal magnetism," Tayuya joked dryly. "Are they 2 of the fiancés?" Kuratsuchi asked. "Oh, Kami and O, we're family with Naruto-kun, and Tsunade-sama, his cousins," Karen explained quickly. "Oh, I was hoping to meet them." Kuratsuchi trailed off, as she walked up to Naruto and took his arm in hers. "However, Naruto-kun can take me on a tour of the village," she said cheerfully, as she dragged him from the room. The boy looked to his cousins for help. You're on your own here, lover boy," Karen teased. "Get going, turd," Tayuya grunted, as she shifted again, and fell back to sleep, as Kuratsuchi dragged him out the door with the others watching in amusement. "Traitors," Naruto complained weakly, but his insult went ignored, as they vanished from the room. "He's in for a wild time. I'm glad I'm here to see it." Tsunade. "I'm just glad, Tayuya. And I weren't the last after all. We really do belong to a family, and we'll do everything we can to protect it." Karen swore, as she got some rest. It was an average day in Konoha. Well, average for most people. Nothing even remotely associated with the Ryuzanpaku can be considered average or normal. I should have said that training was going like it normally was. Eye-popping, jaw-dropping, and terror-inspiring feats being churned out by the boatload. Young Naruto was off training with / getting his ass kicked by one said terror-inspiring master, Sasuke, with his cousin watching from the sidelines, and playing a game of Go with Apachai. Naruto was watching his teacher closely, trying to watch for any hint of movement when the burly brawler simply punched the air pressure picking him up, and tossing him like a rag doll. "You're still wet behind the ears." Sasuke laughed loudly amid the small voice of Sakura asking her Oni-chan if he was going to be alright. "You okay, Anai-chan?" she asked. "Yeah, I just wish I had their strength," Naruto groused, as the elder strolled up to him. "Don't get yourself down, Naruto-chan. You are still young, and have yet to acquire your awesomeness credentials," the old master comforted, pulling a small card out of his robes. "A card? All you get when you're awesome is a freaking card?" the boy asked incredulously. Well, yes and no, Naruto-kun. This card identifies you as a member of a very special group of people, Akasame clarified. So you guys all have one, Akasame-sensei? Sakura asked. Oh yes, we all have one child. Even old Sarutobi has one, Kensei replied with a chuckle, all of the masters whipping their cards out. Sakura reading Apachai. Aloy? She muttered confused. The Awesome League of Awesomeness, Sakaki replied, epically roaring the name itself, Naruto having to grab his little cousin to keep her from flying off. Think of those TV ads for monster truck rallies, that big, booming, and echoing voice. The Awesome League of Awesomeness? He asked, trying to regain his hearing. Yes, it is called the Awesome League of Awesomeness, the normally calm and stoic Akasame answered, further shocking the boy and his younger cousin. Do you really have to do that? Naruto sighed, as he tried to calm Sakura down. I'm sorry, Naruto-chan, but its sheer awesomeness demands no less, Kensei answered him, as the elder remembered something. I nearly forgot we need to renew our memberships. I must call him to come in the morning, he said aloud, as training for the day concluded. After Naruto had dropped off Sakura and gotten himself into bed, he was led to think about just who would be so awesome that they could judge the awesomeness of others. I guess I'll find out tomorrow, he thought, as he drifted off to sleep. The next day, Naruto was hip deep in training again. Sakura, having come over after school, let out to play Go, as was her routine. Things kept on going normally until they all felt something. It was as if a veil of sheer awesomeness had descended upon the village. Lesser men felt their genitalia shrink while women were being driven into an erotic frenzy, as a man with reddish hair and a matching beard calmly pushed the massive gate to the Ryazampaka grounds open, the masters all greeting him respectfully. The man then greeted Hayato. Hello there, Hayato. It's been a while, he started with a small grin. Indeed it has, Mr. Norris. I take it you will be conducting the requalifications this time around? The elder asked. Yes. It's a shame that the bylaws prevent you from requalifying your people, but I am glad to have the chance to talk with you once again, he replied, as he had all of the masters lined up for their requals. Now we will begin your requalifying exams. I will need you to do something that will make a normal person wet themselves on sight. The man known only as Mr. Norris ordered, as they proceeded into the village. Upon reaching the village proper, they set out to accomplish their tasks while the proctor and elder watched on, with old Sarutobi joining them, making sure they didn't cause too much damage and havoc. I remember having to requalify. The old ex-Kage sighed in reminiscence, watching Shigeru throw a handful of vegetables into the air, and in seemingly one swipe with a wooden spoon, reduce them to small, identical cubes, making a few many made a foul odor. That was impressive, Mr. Norris noted, checking her off the list, as Sakaki made a small sculpture out of iron by repeatedly battering it with blows, making some people watching him faint from the overload. I'll allow it, the proctor stated, moving on to the next one. Kensei. He was at the fishing pond when he saw that a young boy was having trouble catching fish. He simply smiled and asked the boy to hold his hat. He let his palm hover over the water as he took a deep breath, then he thrust his palm, not quite making contact with the surface, but causing a localized explosion that had fish raining down on the lucky lad, who thanked the kind and undeniably awesome stranger and went on his way. A very good use for awesomeness. I believe Kensei is approaching his eligibility for permanent status. One more requal like this, and he's earned it. Noted, as they left to find Apachai. Apachai was at the park, playing with Sakura and some of her little friends, the Konohamaru Corps and Hanabi Hyuga. They thought that he forgot what he was supposed to be doing until a little girl cried to him that her kitten had clawed its way to the top of an old pole and couldn't get down. He simply walked up to it and pulled it out of the ground, laid it down, and the little girl retrieved her kitty, making all adults in the vicinity smile. He has his own brand of awesomeness. He passes with flying colors, the proctor noted down. It was widely known that Apachai loved children, and that made him awesome in a whole different way. Akasane was calmly walking downtown when he came across some rather abrasive individuals. Two shinobi had drunkenly stumbled out of a bar, much to Sarutobi's irritation, and had bumped into the mustachioed man, blaming him for everything. As soon as he turned his back, they threw a pair of kunai at him, but he didn't seem to notice. Just scant millimeters from impact, they pinged off of an invisible wall, making their jaws drop. I'm sorry, but my awesomeness is just so hard to contain, he said simply, walking away calmly, as the pair of idiots babbled in fear. Wow, it's been a while since I've seen an aura of pure awesomeness. Full points, Mr. Norris stated, as they all packed it in, and left for the compound again to see Naruto still hard at work. Is he a student of yours? Asked. Yes, he is, but he is also my great-nephew, Hayato replied, telling him about Naruto, and all that he's overcome. The man was stunned, but also deeply impressed, taking a small card out of his pocket, walking up to Naruto, and explaining who he was and what had been going on today. Young man, While I cannot bestow full membership upon you since you are still very young, I can give you a provisional membership, and this card until you come of age. For all that you have overcome, and how you've maintained your positive outlook, he told the awestruck, handing him his very own card. That was just plain awesome, Naruto bellowed epically while holding the card aloft. Later on, he would discover that his brides-to-be all suddenly felt damp down south. The time had finally come for the man to say his goodbyes, and left the village. All of the men felt their balls drop once again, and women came down off of their high once this man left, still wondering what the hell was going on. Well, today marks a milestone for young Naruto, and hopefully there will be many more in his life for him to achieve, Hayato commented to his old friend. If he keeps this up, Mr. Norris may wind up having that successor to his title one day in him. I was twice Naruto's age when I earned mine, Hiruzen replied with a proud smile. Indeed, the future is looking bright, Hayato answered him, as they wound down their day. The end. Thanks for watching my video, and make sure to check out the author of this fanfic. Link is in the description. See you next time, till then sayonara.